Episode 6, The Overbearing CEO. The Future Madam. Ningxi was utterly defeated by Lu Tingxiao's thought process and hastily explained, "I was just joking." "Just joking?" Lu Tingxiao handed her the car keys, seemingly addicted to it. "It's not easy to get a taxi here, and it's inconvenient for you to work. Take this car." Ningxi blinked, wondering why she had the feeling of being kept even though she was just staying temporarily. Wait, if it was being kept, it would be hidden outside. Why would he give her all the keys to the main house, even their son's room? This felt like a newlywed couple. She inexplicably remembered the sudden marriage proposal from the first time they met. Ningxi considered herself quite knowledgeable about men, but the man in front of her was like a high-security computer system. She couldn't read him at all. Having agreed to stay for a while, she didn't know whether it was a blessing or a curse. That night, because Little Treasure's condition was quite poor, Ningxi decided to sleep with him just in case. Late at night, the door was gently pushed open without making a sound. A man walked in, his steps light, and sat on the edge of the bed. In the dim light of the bedside lamp, the woman was gently patting Little Treasure's back while breathing softly. Her eyes were gentle, her lips as tender and red as cherry blossoms in summer, and they seemed to invite without words. After a while, the tranquil atmosphere was suddenly cast with a shadow as the man's figure slowly approached the bright crimson. They were close enough to share breaths, and the slightest movement could capture it. However, he suddenly restrained himself and placed a cool kiss on the woman's forehead. "Ningxi, we have a long way to go." The next morning, Ningxi thought she might have betted a little, but surprisingly, she slept very well. She woke up naturally, without any dreams. She found that Little Treasure was already awake. The little guy was sitting next to her, hugging a book and reading it diligently, not making a sound. Although he was such a good boy now, she couldn't imagine him throwing a fit. "Good morning, baby." Ningxi sat up with her blanket, greeted him warmly. Little Treasure immediately looked up from his book. He didn't speak, and his expression didn't change, but Ningxi could clearly sense his good mood from his eyes, which seemed as if they could speak. Ningxi playfully patted his head, which had a messy tuft of hair. "Auntie doesn't have to work today, so I can stay at home with you all day." As soon as she said that, the little guy became visibly happier, and he even lifted the corners of his mouth slightly. Ningxi was overwhelmed by the cuteness and couldn't help but hug his little face. "Baby, smile more. You're incredibly cute when you smile." After freshening up, breakfast was already prepared downstairs. Ningxi didn't see Lu Tingxiao, and neither the butler nor the servants mentioned waiting for him to eat, so she guessed he had already gone to the company. After breakfast, Ningxi had been worried about how to take care of a child, but it turned out that none of her concerns came true. Early in the morning, she curled up on the sofa, reading her script. Little Treasure was busy reading or drawing at the nearby table. They didn't disturb each other and got along harmoniously. The servants only appeared once to deliver some snacks and fruits. They moved very quietly, as if they were afraid of disturbing him. It seemed like Little Treasure was a child who liked peace and quiet. In the corner, the old butler silently observed the two people in the living room. He noticed that Ningxi didn't go out of her way to please the young master like he had initially suspected. Instead, she was focused on reading her script. As for the young master, he appeared to be reading and drawing as usual, with no apparent changes. However, upon closer observation, one could see that he occasionally stole glances at Ningxi, and his expression was vivid and serene. Perhaps because extremely beautiful women always made people feel insecure, the old butler was initially uneasy when he first saw Ningxi. He was afraid that she might deceive the young master. Based on his current observations, it seemed she was behaving well. He wondered how long she could keep this up. After all, there were countless women in Beijing who coveted the position of Mrs. Lu and would go to great lengths to become Little Treasure's stepmother. 2 years ago, there had even been a terrible incident that had traumatized the young master. So, when he saw the young master trusting that woman so much and even the second young master not stopping her, he was extremely vigilant, helping to prevent any potential harm. Unbeknownst to them, more than 2 hours had passed. Ningxi had finished reading her script, and Little Treasure had completed his drawing. He hurriedly carried the artwork over to show her. Ningxi looked at it and was taken aback. "Is this me?" She couldn't tell at first glance, but Little Treasure, who seemed so calm and quiet, had actually painted it in a style reminiscent of the Fauvist movement. Fauvist painters were known for their use of bright, intense colors, bold brushwork, and creating strong visual effects to express their emotions. Although the characters in this painting had unusual and abstract features, it accurately captured her distinct characteristics. So, at a single glance, Ningxi recognized that the painting depicted her. Little Treasure nodded and looked a bit nervous, as if he was worried she wouldn't like it. "It's so beautiful. Can I take a photo of it and use it as my phone wallpaper?" Ningxi praised Little Treasure sincerely. She wasn't just being polite, she genuinely loved the Fauvist style, with its vibrant and bold colors. Judging by her somewhat limited knowledge of art, Little Treasure's skills were already at a masterful level. Little Treasure blushed and shyly pushed the painting into her arms. Ningxi pointed to herself. "Is it a gift for me?" Little Treasure nodded. "Thank you. I love it so much." Ningxi hugged the little guy and kissed his soft cheek. Little Treasure was momentarily stunned, and then his small face turned bright red, making his once expressionless eyes come alive. As the two of them enjoyed their heartwarming moment, they heard footsteps coming from above. Ningxi looked in the direction of the sound and was surprised to see Lu Tingxiao descending the stairs. He was wearing casual clothes and had just woken up, as evidenced by his disheveled hair and drowsy expression. Although Lu Tingxiao's usual restrained demeanor was alluring, this disheveled appearance, which contrasted with his usual self, had an even greater charm. It was irresistibly sexy. Ningxi finally snapped out of her daze after a moment. "Mr. Lu, didn't you go to the office today?" After all, it was a Monday. "Yes, I'm taking the day off today," Lu Tingxiao replied with a nod. Ningxi thought it was understandable. He had just wrapped up a major deal, so taking some time off was normal. It turned out that even the big boss Lu had days when he slept in. This unexpectedly brought them closer in a way. "Little Treasure painted a portrait for the first time," Lu Tingxiao remarked, casting a glance at the painting in Ningxi's hand. "Really? I'm honored," Ningxi replied, genuinely pleased. "What would you like to eat for lunch?" Lu Tingxiao asked. It seemed like they were not only accommodating her stay but also providing meals. Ningxi was about to answer when her phone suddenly rang. It was a call from Changli. Could it be another request to play a minor role? "Hello, Sister Chang. Niashi, the opening ceremony for Tianxia is at noon today at the Mingzhu Grand Hotel. Don't be late." "What? At noon today? Sister Chang, why didn't you inform me earlier? It's almost 11 o'clock now. Why didn't I inform you earlier?" "I did. I notified you an hour in advance, didn't I? 1 hour is barely enough time for me to get there, let alone change clothes and do my makeup. These are your own problems, don't bother me. I'm busy right now. I'm hanging up." With that, she abruptly ended the call. "Changli. I swear, you." Ningxi threw her phone down in frustration. As soon as she hung up, Ningxi realized her mistake. Little Treasure looked stunned. Lu Tingxiao also seemed surprised. Ningxi touched her face and wished she could bury herself in a hole. She had forgotten where she was, and there was also a little flower of the country nearby. She didn't intend to act like a lady in front of Lu Tingxiao, but she didn't want to set a bad example for Little Treasure. "Cough, Little Treasure, let's just pretend you didn't hear anything just now. You can't learn how to swear from Auntie, because Auntie just said something inappropriate," Ningxi explained seriously. Little Treasure blinked his eyes, seeming to understand. He nodded in agreement. A hint of a smile played on Lu Tingxiao's lips as he asked, "What happened?" Ningxi gritted her teeth and said, "The opening ceremony of Tianxia starts at noon today, and it's nearly 11 now. My manager just informed me, but I have to get to the Mingzhu Grand Hotel, which is at least a 50-minute drive from here. I can't show up without makeup, can I?" "Why not? You're beautiful even without makeup." Ningxi was momentarily taken aback. She didn't expect Lu Tingxiao to be so articulate. She scratched her head and said, Thank you for the compliment. But in such an important setting, it's still polite to put on some makeup. Plus, I don't have any suitable clothes at the moment. There will be many media outlets present, and I'm so annoyed." "Wait a moment," Lu Tingxiao raised his hand to signal her to calm down and then went outside to make a phone call. 10 minutes later, someone arrived, panting heavily. "Mr. Lu, I've brought everything you requested. Are we starting now?" The newcomer was dressed in ripped jeans, a gray cotton and linen shirt, and had a distinctive deep blue earring in his left ear. Ningxi was surprised to see a familiar face. Of course, familiar meant that she recognized him, but he didn't know her. Arthur, the renowned stylist from Xingshi Entertainment who transformed the decaying into divine for the queen of the screen, Suyimo. He was a big shot that Ningxi, a small shrimp, could only admire from a distance. Who is this? Ningxi asked, puzzled. Do you not recognize him? Lu Tingxiao inquired. Of course, I know the famous Arthur. But why did you call him over? Obviously, to have him style you, Lu Tingxiao replied in a matter-of-fact tone. Ningxi was left speechless and whispered, You had a Xingshi Entertainment employee come to style me? Are you aware that I'm an artist from Starlight Entertainment? Xingshi Entertainment and Starlight Entertainment are arch-enemies. So what? Lu Tingxiao responded with a domineering CEO look in his eyes. So what? Ningxi was speechless. Mr. Lu, are you aware that you're helping an artist from another company at the expense of your own employees? It was clear that he didn't know, and she had no fame at the moment. The great Arthur probably didn't recognize her. She was utterly defeated by Lu Tingxiao. Xingshi Entertainment was, after all, a subsidiary of the Lu Group. Although Xingshi Entertainment was currently under the management of Lu Jingli, the ultimate boss behind the scenes was Lu Tingxiao, the CEO of the Lu Group. 5 years ago, the Lu Group entered the entertainment industry and acquired Xingshi Entertainment, creating an entertainment empire that rivaled Starlight Entertainment, the oldest and currently the biggest player in the industry. This illustrated how fierce the competition was between the two companies. From artists to agents, assistants, and stylists, they were all fiercely competitive. If an artist from both companies appeared on the same set, there would definitely be clashes. Lu Tingxiao checked his watch and said, The nanny car is waiting outside. You can do your makeup and styling on the way. We still have time. It's up to you if you want to go or not. Ningxi hesitated, feeling a pang of guilt. Since Lu Tingxiao didn't mind, she shouldn't either. Seeing that Lu Tingxiao was joining them, Ningxi was surprised. You're coming too? Who else would drive? Besides, Little Treasure wants to spend more time with you, Lu Tingxiao replied matter-of-factly, as if he were stating the undeniable truth while dismissing her questions. Little Treasure nodded emphatically. All right. Finally, with the addition of stylist Arthur, the four of them set off in the nanny car. Lu Tingxiao had not even changed his clothes and was still in his home attire. He was driving, while Ningxi and Arthur were in the back, and Little Treasure was peering at them from his seat. Arthur observed Ningxi carefully and expressed his admiration. Miss, your features are perfectly balanced, and your skin is in excellent condition. You don't need much makeup. I just need to give you a light touch. However, I'm not sure what kind of event you'll be attending today, so I need to select an appropriate outfit for you. It's an opening ceremony for a movie? Ningxi was afraid that Arthur would ask more questions and find out that she was a Starlight Entertainment artist, which might lead to an uncomfortable situation. Fortunately, Arthur didn't inquire further and simply nodded in understanding before continuing to do her makeup. When they arrived near the venue for the opening ceremony, Ningxi's complete styling was just in time. The timing was impeccable. Lu Tingxiao turned off the engine, leaned back in his seat, and gazed at the woman who had just finished her transformation. How do I look? Ningxi asked nervously. Not bad. Receiving such a compliment from the usually critical Lu Tingxiao was quite an achievement, especially with Little Treasure looking at her in awe. Confident now, Ningxi embraced Little Treasure and said apologetically, Sorry for what I said earlier, my dear. But Auntie promises that I'll finish work quickly and come back to be with you. Reluctantly, Little Treasure clung to her for a while before releasing her and waving goodbye. As Ningxi left, Arthur took the driver's seat. Unable to contain his curiosity any longer, he asked cautiously, Boss, who was that lady just now? Is she a new artist in our company? I've never seen her before. Oh my goodness. Their boss actually had a woman by his side. This was huge news. Lu Tingxiao rested his chin on his hand and replied nonchalantly, She's an artist from Starlight Entertainment. In that moment, Arthur's expression was as if he had just eaten a pound of dung. Their boss, their leader, was committing an act of betrayal. Even the second young master wouldn't dare to date a Starlight artist. If it were the second young master sitting here, he would definitely give a fierce and righteous scolding. But unfortunately, this was the great demon king, Lu Tingxiao. What made Arthur even more uncomfortable was that he had no doubt that this unknown artist from Starlight might become their future madam. After all, she was a woman who could make the little prince, the future heir, smile so genuinely. She was definitely not ordinary. The opening ceremony of Tianxia was a grand event. All the key members of the cast and crew were present, and cameras were flashing continuously. Media outlets swarmed the scene, and there were hordes of fans on the outskirts. Most of the media were focused on the leading actress, Ning Xuelua, and the leading actor, Zhao Xizhou. One was the leading actress of Starlight Entertainment, and the other was an award-winning actor. The combination of a handsome man and a beautiful woman naturally drew a lot of attention. Xuelua, we all know that this is your second time playing a couple with Xizhou. In real life, do you have feelings for a man like him? A reporter asked. Haha, Xizhou is indeed very charming, but no, I don't. I have no extra feelings for him. Ning Xuelua replied. As soon as she finished speaking, all the reporters started making noise. A year ago, Ning Xuelua had announced that she had a boyfriend. People from all walks of life had tried to dig up details about her relationship. The result was surprising. Her boyfriend turned out to be the son of Su Hongguang, the CEO of Yifeng Group, with substantial wealth and a handsome appearance. He was a genuine rich and handsome guy, making everyone jealous. Although fans were a little disappointed, most of them no longer opposed their idols' marriages or relationships as strongly as they had in the past. They mostly wished their idols happiness. Ning Xuelua's popularity had not waned after publicly revealing her relationship. On the contrary, she had been able to maintain her popularity through topics like rich and handsome boyfriend and life winner. Next to her, Zhao Xizhou played along with the joke and placed his hand on his chest, feigning heartache. Miss Official, you have a heart of stone. I've given my entire heart to you. In this drama, Ning Xuelua played the role of Guaningrong, and Zhao Xizhou played a prince. The journalists burst into laughter, teasing Zhao Xizhou, and the atmosphere was quite lively. The actress playing the second female lead, Meng Chang'e, was also the focus of attention, and a crowd had gathered around her. Director Gua, why haven't we seen the actress for Meng Chang'e? Is she going to be here today? Of course, she'll be here. Rumor has it that even Jia Qingqing failed the audition for Meng Chang'e. Is it true that you thought Jia Qingqing wasn't pretty enough for the role? The questions were clearly intended to stir up trouble. But Director Guo was a seasoned professional who spoke carefully. The role of Meng Chang'e indeed has high requirements for the actress's appearance, but beauty is not the only criterion. Jia Qingqing's appearance is certainly not an issue, but we felt there was still a gap between her and our requirements. I heard that the actress playing Meng Chang'e is a newcomer. Given the high requirements for the role, can she fully handle it? What's going on today? Aren't the red envelopes enough? The reporters' questions were sharp and all directed at the second female lead. We'll have to wait for our drama to come out, and everyone can see for themselves, Director Guo replied. The reporters were not willing to let go of the issue and pressed on. Director Guo, is it true that Jia Qingqing is more beautiful than the actress playing Meng Chang'e? It wasn't over yet. Yes. Is Jia Qingqing prettier? What's this about being a once-in-a-century beauty? Wait until you see Ningxi, and then you'll see if you dare to praise Jia Qingqing like this. Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and each has its own merits. You'll find out when the person arrives. Director Guo was getting a bit impatient with the questions. At this moment, he looked beyond the crowd of reporters and saw someone at the end of the red carpet. He was captivated for 3 seconds before he regained his composure and smiled. Look, no sooner said than done.